Welcome to your first lesson on mastering tenses for IELTS General Writing Task 1. That's letters, of course. In this lesson, we'll have a quick overview of why tenses are important, and we'll focus on 4 present tenses, and we'll talk about how they're made and show you a couple of examples. But up first, why are tenses important? Well, the examiner will be looking for you to use a range of tenses within your IELTS Task 1 letter as part of your grammar skills. So thinking back to the band descriptors, part of the grammar is going to be about using a range of structures or tenses too. Now, a lot of students do ask me, well, isn't it mostly in the past tense if the question is talking about something in the past? Or similar questions around that example, say. And yes, that is true. However, we don't stick to one tense. In fact, if you only use one tense, firstly, your letter would probably sound quite strange. And also, that isn't showing a range of structures. It's natural to use a range of tenses within our speech, writing, and language. Therefore, you want to use a range of tenses within your letter too. However, do not force use of tenses or read through your writing to check if you have included all structures. Be natural when writing. Now, you will want to try to include a range of tenses, but what I mean is by forcing tenses is don't try and include all 12. There are 12 major English tenses, and we'll go through them all and show you some examples of them within an IELTS letter scenarios. But don't go through all your sentences and think, well, I need to use all 10, 11, 12 tenses to get a good mark. You must use them naturally. You must use them accurately. And as you practice, as you see more modelled answers, as you write your own answers more and more, you'll develop your understanding of when to use these different tenses. Find balance. So you're not going to want to do all 12 tenses. That would probably be pretty weird to be switching between talking about times of events so much, but you are going to need to find a range. So in this lesson, we'll be looking at 4 of the present tenses that we can use, and we'll start with present simple. So this is used for general truths, habits, regular occurrences, as well as schedules as well. But overall, it's general truths and facts and habits. How do we make the present simple? Subject plus base verb, And if the subject is third person singular, we add S or ES to our base verb. Pretty straightforward, really. Present simple is often the first sort of focused upon tense within many languages, including English. Okay, let's see a formal example within an IELTS letter style topic for present simple. Our school values your ongoing support with this issue. So here I'm probably taking on the role of a head teacher or something and writing maybe a letter of thanks, of gratitude, a letter of complaint, whatever it may be. Our school subject, base verb value to value, and here values your ongoing support with this issue. We might struggle if the weather is bad, but keep your fingers crossed. So here we have an informal example of present simple tense. We might struggle if the weather is bad, but keep your fingers crossed. We subject, struggle is our base verb. Okay, so just a few examples there of the present simple. You probably will find that you'll be using this quite often in your practice answers. Let's move on to our next present tense, which is present continuous, another very commonly used tense. So this describes actions happening right now or very close to the time now. So these actions are ongoing and happening now. The structure is subject plus am, is, are, plus present participle, or just as we call them, verb plus ing. Okay, a formal example. Currently, we're enhancing our local park for community well-being. Very formal language here. There is a contraction. We are, we're. We generally use more contractions with informal tones of letters, but we can sometimes use them in formal as well. Currently, we're enhancing our local park for community well-being. We are, we're, plus the present participle, verb ing, enhancing. Okay, informal example. I'm writing to tell you about a party next Friday. It's going to be great. This would probably be around a sort of invitation style letter to a friend. I'm writing to tell you about. Next up, we have the present perfect. Perfect tenses are often considered, and rightly so, a little bit more difficult to understand when to use, but also how to form them accurately. So let's take a look at the present perfect. This is all about an action or event in the past that has connections to the present. Subject plus has, have, plus the past participle. Past participle, of course, is a type of verb form. Let's take a look at an example for formal. Positive transformations have taken place, and we thank you for this. Okay, so the subject here would be positive transformations, and we have, has, we use singular, have for plural, positive transformations have, and the past participle taken, took, taken. Positive transformations have taken place, and we thank you for this. Here it sounds like a letter of thanks. Let's look at an informal example of using present perfect for IELTS letters. A few lucky events have happened over the last week, so I'm feeling well. Lucky events, plural, have, and the past participle is happened. And our final tense, present tenses, we have present perfect continuous, quite a mouthful. Let's see why we use this. So this is an action in the past. It started in the past, but it's still happening today. And the structure is subject plus has, have been, plus present participle, so that verb ing. Here's a formal example. Our local radio station has been operating for years. So it started in the past, but it's still operating now. And that's the key for the present perfect continuous. An action starting in the past, ongoing, continuing now. Our local radio station has been operating for years. And more of an informal example. I've been volunteering with a local charity, so maybe you'd join. I've been volunteering with a local charity, so maybe you join. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this lesson on present tenses. A pretty quick, but I hope useful overview for you on how we can use different tenses and when their use is, but also an example of sort of structure and use within different IELTS general letter settings. Let's move on to the next part of mastering tenses now.